Hey guys, Sure Shot Midget here. So we are going to be discussing the stigma behind HPA. Why is there a stigma behind it? Why do a lot of people hate on it? I'm going to go ahead and go in depth and share my experience. I've been an AEG user for a long time, and as soon as I became an HPA user that shoots higher rates of fire, that shoots quick on semi-automatic, and also kind of gets into more of the speed soft stuff, everybody hates me. Alright, so to start off, these two are my guns. This is Devon's. They are all three Valken V12s. First of all, I'm going to start off talking about... let's start off by talking about why would a field ban HPA? I've met a lot of different field owners, and a lot of them are not HPA friendly. And what I've narrowed it down to is the fact that they want new players to play airsoft, and they don't think that a new player wants to play airsoft just because there's HPA players on the field. And when you ban HPA, you lose all those HPA players, and you get the occasional new player that comes, every once a month. But if you ban HPA, you lose your HPA players. You are losing much more revenue when you ban HPA just to get new players to come in, pretty much. Instead of educating people, a lot of field owners bash HPA and say that those are the type of people you have to watch out for. Yeah, they're known for turning their regulators up and shooting hard, or HPA pierces skin, or yeah, those people that shoot high rates of fire are just jerks. They're just out there to hurt people. Stuff like that. It really makes new players not understand the truth behind what HPA is. And as soon as players do use HPA, they love it. I've given my guns to a few new players, people that I've never played with HPA, just seen other people use them, whatever, given the gun to them, and they play with it. And really the only gripe that anyone ever says about them, well, two things. The price, of course, and then the hose. Some people don't like the hose, which I can see that becoming an issue for some people. Now, for open plays, I don't see an issue with the hose whatsoever. For milsims, I can see that, but nowadays you have like the race stocks. So Wolverine has come out with race stocks. Polar Star has come out with a stock, if I'm not mistaken, for CO2, or they're working on it. And then there's the air stocks too, which are really expensive, but there's those type of things to basically do away with your hose, and it's all built in. So I could see with those type of guns, being great. I wouldn't want to go to American Milsim or Milsim West, carry a tank in my bag around the whole time, and if I need to go heal somebody or medic somebody, I have to unhook my hose, lay my gun down, or run to somebody with my hose connected, and a little bit of an issue, but I don't do Milsim, so it doesn't even matter. For your standard generic open plays, HPA is perfect. I recommend more people do it, honestly. So also, there's another reason why maybe a field might ban HPA. The fact that it carries more energy. More energy. There's a misconception behind it. I literally proved it. You'll see later in this video, I shot this gun alongside my Scorpion Evo. They shoot both about 345, 350 FPS, both of them, and they were both hitting that 1.08 joule to 1.11 was the highest I think I had got. Both of them never went higher. It's a misconception that muzzle velocity right out of the end of the gun, HPA is a lot harder. That's a misconception. What is true about HPA is that it carries its energy for a further distance. Okay? So let's say you're launching .2s out of this gun, you're launching .2s out of my Scorpion Evo. At 100 feet when somebody gets hit with this gun, it's going to have more energy to it. Now I'm actually curious to see, at what distance does FPS drop? Now there's different charts for that. I haven't done much research on it because it varies by gun, of course, and how much hop you have and all that sort of stuff. But HPA generally does carry more energy at distance. So you get shot with, a HPA gun running 1.1 joule. You get shot with an AEG shooting 1.1 joule. The HPA is going to be carrying more energy. Now, generally, it's not going to be enough to feel it. Like if you get shot in the arm with both guns at 100 feet, it's not like this one's going to start bleeding with the HPA and the AEG's not. It's not that drastic. What is really nice about that energy, keeping that energy, is the fact that basically people will call their hits at distance more, which is nice. I run 350 with this, and I would argue at 100 feet I'm probably carrying, I honestly don't even know where to begin. Maybe 300 to 320 feet per second at 100 feet, whereas muzzle velocity is 350. Joule-wise, I don't know where that sits. That's just kind of the guess. There's really no way you can test that unless you have a chronograph at 100 feet that somehow you can shoot through and test that. I don't think there's any other way to test that. But in general, HPA does not carry a whole lot more energy. Of course, one thing about HPA that's nice is that people run heavier BBs and their feet per second won't drop as much. That's another thing about carrying energy. So you put a .3 in this gun and it'll probably shoot 300 feet per second with a .3. If you put a .3 in an AEG that shoots 350, it's probably going to shoot like 250. So it's a lot more of an FPS drop when you use heavier BBs with an AEG. With HPA, it doesn't drop as much. Same thing with gas blowbacks. It is the same effect with the gas blowback rifle, pistol. So I don't see why people have issues with that. Mainly because, you know, with a gas blowback, you're not spamming your trigger or shooting over 25 rounds a second or whatever. So with gas blowbacks, you don't have issues or whatever. Hold it closer so hopefully you can see it. I'll read it off, but hopefully you can see it. 1.1 joule, which is 345 FPS. 346 FPS, 1.11 joule. 350, 1.15. 343, 1.09. 342, 1.08. So that's with a .2, same brand BB. And then let's go ahead and shoot the HPA. So we have the HPA here, same everything. In fact, it's still the last shot on the Scorpion, the Evo. 346, 1.11 joule. 343, 1.09 joules. 345, 1.11 joules. 348, 1.12 joules. 346, 1.11 joule. 347, 1.11 joules. So much more consistent as far as FPS. That's one beauty about HPA. But as you can see, the joule reading is literally the same. And then another more pitiful reason why a field owner might ban HPA is just because you can shoot quick. It has versatility. You know, you can adjust your rate of fire from anywhere from literally 5 rounds a second up to people have gotten them up to 70 rounds a second. I have never ever seen anybody else play over, I'd say 35. 35 is probably the max I have ever seen anyone play as far as rate of fire on an AEG or HPA where I'm from. Besides me and my friends. Me and my friends are the only people that ever take our guns over 35. Again, I've never played with anyone that shoots over 35 rounds a second. I can't say that I have. So, just literally under 10 people that I know. Probably, I'd say probably 7 or 8 people that I know that will shoot over 30 rounds a second. Everyone else that I know would be under that. Another reason why people or field owners could ban HPA is the fact that people can turn their regulators up. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people ban them because, not a lot, but places will ban them because people keep turning their regulators up. And that's the field's fault for not regulating that, because there's such things as tourney locks. You can use zip ties. You can use stickers, literally chrono stickers you can put on caps to tell if people have screwed them off. And if a ref should be on the field with a chrono at all times. I believe that. You know, there's pouches. You can pop a chrono in a pouch, and then they can go ref. Each ref should have a chrono on the field, in my opinion. And so if there's any issues with somebody saying, "Oh, that person's shooting hot," you go over there. You say, "Hey, ask the person, point the person out to me. Who shot you? Blah blah blah." Go chrono them, and if they're shooting hot, then give them a warning. Take them back to staging, re-chrono them, and then tag their stuff up. Re-tag their stuff up if they cut it. And then if they do it again, then that's when you need to either kick them out, permanent ban, or, you know, short time ban, whatever you feel is, you know, good idea, but you have to deal with people like that. Me and my immediate group of friends never run over, I'd say 370 is the max that my friends would run over when they're shooting over 30 rounds a second. In my opinion, if somebody's shooting 25 rounds a second, by all means shoot 400 feet per second. But I do recommend people that are running high rates of fire just to run lower FPS, pretty much, lower joules. I run 350 FPS with this, and at 350 it's about 1.1 joule with the 2. This one is about 1 joule with the 2 because I run about 330, 340. And then this is Devin's. He can run anywhere, honestly. I might just recommend him to turn it up to 400 feet per second and then turn the rate of fire down to 25 and just give people the McGurkin Hurkin if they ain't calling it. So why does it seem like a lot of people hate HPA? And I kind of hinted to it earlier. A lot of it is because field owners say bad things about HPA players, and new players pick that up and they'll run with it. And they'll say, oh, that stupid HPA player is the HPA player. That happens all the time, and it's literally because of owners, field owners. They encourage the hate, basically, and it's not every field owner. In fact, there's a field that's actually south of me, which is complete opposite direction of all my other friends. That's why I don't go there very often. And they do HPA everything. Literally, like, more than 50% of people on the field at one time have HPA. And you never hear anybody say, it was him with the HPA, it was him, blah, 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 he overshot me, his gun hurts a lot. You don't hear that because people there are knowledgeable. Because the field owner, they actually educate people. And so you never see any complaints there. I will say that field is more Milsim, more 2 Milsim for me. Most of their games, if not all of them, are semi-automatic only. Which when I pay for an open play, I should be able to use full auto. So that is my one gripe with that field, is if I pay for an open play, I should be able to shoot full auto, flat out. If you want to, have gunners be full auto only, and, your riflemen to have semi-automatic, play more Milsims. And they do a lot of Milsims there, so I don't understand why their general open plays are the same way. Why? And I do want to skim on the idea of high rates of fire. I've already gone over FPS and everything. I encourage you, if you're shooting over 30 rounds a second, shoot below 360. In my opinion, 350. I run this at 350. I shoot anywhere from 40 to 50 rounds a second. This thing is 35 RPS, and it actually shoots only 330 FPS, so even lower. But I do use a 0.25s in this, so it does carry energy, but it's still, with a 0.25 at 330, it's like, I'm not sure what the joules are. It's probably 1 with the 2.5 at 330. It's not even that high. We're not Lion Airsoft. We don't shoot people at an indoor field with HPA guns with .36 gram BBs. So, but somehow we're the people to get banned, Our group's the one that get banned. Lion Airsoft can still come play around. But as far as rate of fire, the reoccurring theme that I hear from people, it's super cringy. Like, okay, listen to this. One of the most reoccurring themes that I hear people say up against high rates of fire is that a real gun only shoots 11 to 14 rounds a second. Let that sink in. We're playing an airsoft game where we shoot BBs out of fake guns, and somebody is telling me that a real gun only shoots 12 to 14 rounds a second, and that's why we shouldn't shoot very fast. It's a freaking game. It's airsoft. It's just ridiculous. A ridiculous idea that because a real gun shoots 11 rounds a second on full auto, I should set my airsoft gun for that. And a lot of you guys will agree. A lot of the BQB players, even some of the Milsim players, understand that that's retarded. Because most people, pretty much, I'd say 80% of players have a gun that shoots over 11 rounds a second. Let's be honest. If you're getting 11 rounds a second, you're using a freaking 8.4 or a 7.2 large Tamiya battery. Let's be honest. You're garbage if you do that. You're garbage. Another reoccurring theme that I see people say is the whole thing about skill. It doesn't take skill to point a gun in the direction of somebody and hold the trigger down and 40 BBs come out of your gun. It's not about skill. I play airsoft to have fun, not to win or to make, myself feel good, Oh, I shot one round and got that guy out. I am so good at this game. That never happens. That never comes to my mind. Oh, it took 100 rounds to shoot that guy. That has never come to my mind. Even when I was more of a Milsim player and used a gas-blowback rifle, I didn't think like, oh, it took 4 shots for that guy. I'm more realistic. Like, that is trash. But it's not about being easy. It's about having fun. That's the thing. Shooting super quick on semi-auto technically would be not as fair because you get more BBs downrange and it's not as skillful. It's the same concept. It's just because it's fun and it's having an advantage. Most people in the field can't shoot 15 rounds a second on semi-auto, like me and a few of my friends. Mainly Devin. Devin gets, honestly, probably quicker than me. It's a skill. It's literally a skill. Coming from a tech's perspective, it's just fun. It's fun to tune these engines. It's fun to tune an AEG to shoot 30 rounds a second, you know, and not sound like garbage, and feed properly. It takes skill to do that, so why would playing with it not take skill? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's different gameplay styles, so you have to be understanding, and if there are people that are legitimately known for overshooting people, then you need to take that up with refs, with field owners. If they are known for overshooting, then they need to be talked to. Or you can make a rule where if you're shooting over 30 rounds a second, you have to shoot below 350 FPS or below 1.2 joules or something like that. There's ways around it. Instead of just ruining everybody's fun, you can limit their fun. Not even that, in my opinion, because I don't ever shoot, 400 FPS at 40 rounds a second. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. And some people might be telling me, well, what's the difference between 50 FPS? Like, 50 FPS isn't that much. I'd rather get shot with somebody shooting 20 rounds a second at 400 FPS. Would you? Or would you rather get shot with the same amount of BBs at 350 FPS, just somebody shooting faster? Because most of the time, when you get shot at 40 rounds a second, you're not getting hit with 40 BBs. That very rarely happens. There's so much brush at outdoor fields that it's ridiculous. A lot of times, shooting 40 or 50 rounds a second is awesome because you can just put a bunch of BBs through a bunch of brush, and the chances are you're going to get somebody out. Again, it's having an advantage. I also think that there's a little bit of a stereotype as far as HPA players shooting fast. And you can do the same thing with an AEG. You can build DSGs to shoot 50 plus rounds a second and do that also, all that sort of stuff. Some people think that, it's just because HPA is easy and people throw an HPA engine in their gun. Like, I threw a V12 in this gun and just got it to shoot 50 rounds a second. Absolutely not. I replaced the poppet valve, the nozzle, the QEV valve, the trigger, hop-up barrel, bucking. This is Subaru hopped. You have to adjust the settings perfectly to match your mags, your BB weight, your PSI, your regulator. There's a lot to do. You don't just throw an HPA engine in a gun and run with it. Also, I want to talk about blade triggers. I think it is beyond silly for a field to ban blade triggers or require a trigger guard or to require a trigger spring. And this is why. Basically, some people think that it's a hazard as far as safety. Okay, with an HPA gun now, you can put blade triggers in AEGs. As far as with an HPA gun, in order to fire it, you have to have the hose connected, the battery connected, the gun off of safe, and the trigger has to be pulled. On top of that, you either have to have a loaded magazine in or a BB in the chamber. When you're playing, if you're playing properly and following the correct rules, you're out in the field, game is over, you clear your chamber by shooting a few times on semi-auto or full auto, however much. Just make sure your mag's out first, and then you clear it, and then you unhook your hose, and you go to staging. Most of the time, you put your gun down on a table, and your hose is not connected. And if somebody comes up and fingers your gun, even if there's a BB in the chamber or a loaded mag left in the gun, it's not going to fire unless your hose is hooked up. The only time that there would be a danger, some person comes, picks up your gun, there's a BB in the chamber and they don't know it, and they hook up their regulator to it, or yours, they just take your hose and plug it in and start to shoot. There might be one BB in there. But if you follow the rules and clear it out, there should be no harm done. As far as the blade triggers, because you can shoot quicker, I can shoot just as quick with this gun as I can with this gun. This is a blade trigger, this is not. I can shoot just as quick with both of them. I'll be honest, I can. I'm probably going to make a video comparing them just to prove it. But those people that know me personally know that that is the truth. I can shoot them just as quick as each other. Because pretty much everyone that I have met face to face that have played with this trigger have loved it. People will say, oh, that's a cool trigger. What kind of trigger is that? Or one dude on my gameplay, he said, sick ass trigger, dude. I think that's all for this video. I don't think I have anything else to say. I do want to mention, if you're not following me on Instagram, I will have my Instagram in the description of this video if you want to go follow me there. But I did post a picture of a patch I'm coming out with. As you can see here, I have some Velcro on my stock. I am coming out with a Give Them the 40 patch, okay? So I'm literally designing a patch, and it says give them the 40, quote unquote, give them the 40. It's red, white, and blue, and it's going to be roughly this length. I'm going to be selling them for between $10 and $12. I'm going to be giving between 5 and 10 of them away for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway on my YouTube. Once that hits, it should be like probably 2 months from now, I should hit 1,000. So I'll be giving a few away there. If you want one, go DM me on Instagram. Do keep in mind, they're not going to be, I'm not going to have them for probably 2 weeks. I will post a picture on Instagram of the patch on my stock. Once that picture is uploaded to Instagram, that means I am ready to sell. Please don't come and message me and say, I want to buy a patch like tomorrow. I can't. I don't have them. Wait for the picture to pop up on your feed or set notifications or whatever so you get notified when I post. And I will post a picture of this gun with the patch on it. And I'll mention in the description, you know, patches are now for sale, yada yada. DM me for info so you can take care of it then. Honestly, your drama is cringy. Stop it. And I'll continue to trigger you because I love just getting my tingers going real quick.